A concealed carry law change does not have to ban your gun to wreck your day. Sometimes, all it takes is one missed deadline, one wrong location, or one bad assumption about your permit. Quick question before we continue. Are you subscribed yet? Because what I'm about to walk you through could be the difference between staying legal and losing your license. Hit that button now, because these 6 changes are real, they're already happening in different states, and if you travel with your firearm, this stuff matters even more than most people realize. Pause. First thing you need to understand is this. These are not all nationwide changes. They are state-by-state changes, but your concealed carry life does not stop at your county line. If you move, if you visit family, if you road trip, if you cross state lines for work, or if you renew your permit without reading the new rules, these changes can absolutely impact you. And the first one out of Colorado is the kind of change that catches people off guard because it sounds small until you see what it really does. Source. First change, Colorado changed the permit process in a big way. Starting July 1st, 2025, Colorado made concealed handgun training much stricter. If you apply after that date, your class has to be taught in person by a verified firearms instructor, not just any instructor, a verified one. The class also has to include live fire training and a written exam. New applicants need at least 8 hours of instruction. Renewal applicants need at least a 2-hour refresher class, and that refresher also has a written test and live fire piece. Here's the part nobody's talking about enough. Colorado also tightened the timing. Training certificates for new permits are good for 1 year. Renewal certificates are only good for 6 months. So imagine you take the class, stick the certificate in a drawer, get busy with work, and try to renew later. You might have to pay and do it all again. That is a very expensive mistake. And there's another layer. The law says certain misdemeanor convictions within the previous 5 years can block a permit. So this is not just a take a class and you're done system anymore. It is more demanding, more time sensitive, and less forgiving. Most people think permit renewal is just paperwork. In Colorado now, the mindset can burn you fast. Source. Second change is in Texas, and this one is dangerous because it sounds helpful at first. Texas passed HB 668, and it gives license holders up to 1 year after expiration to submit a renewal. That change took effect June 20th, 2025, according to the Texas Department of Public Safety. So a lot of people hear that and think, great, I've got a 1-year grace period. But wait, here's the trap. Texas DPS also says there is not a grace period or extension for carrying with an expired license to carry, even if you already filed your renewal. Let me say that again in plain English. You may have extra time to renew the card. You do not have extra time to carry under expired license benefits. That is a huge difference. Here's a hypothetical example to explain this. Your LTC expires on Friday. You submit your renewal on Saturday. You think you're covered because the law gave you a year to renew. Then you get stopped while carrying and tell the officer, I already renewed online. Texas DPS says that does not restore the benefits of the license until you receive the new valid LTC. This is the part that shocked me, because a lot of good people will hear 1 year grace period and think it means 1 year legal carry cushion. It does not. Renewal grace is not carry grace. Don't make that mistake. Source. If this is helping you, imagine what you'll get from my next video on the exact words that can protect you when an officer starts asking questions during a stop. Subscribe now so you don't miss that one, because knowing the law is good, but knowing what to say in the moment is even better. Third change takes us to North Carolina, and this one matters because it changes where some permit holders may carry, but only under very narrow conditions. Starting December the 1st, 2025, North Carolina created an exception for employees and volunteers at non-public schools if they have written authorization from the school, a valid concealed handgun permit, and at least 8 hours of extra annual firearms training beyond the normal permit training. They may carry a firearm or stun gun on that school's property while they are on those premises as an employee or volunteer. Now, this is where it gets interesting. A lot of people will hear this and say, so school carry is legal now? No, that is not what the law says. It is a narrow exception for authorized staff and volunteers at non-public schools. Not public schools, not random visitors, not parents at pickup, not a permit holder dropping off lunch. And if the school does not have written procedures in place or the person does not have the required authorization and training, that exception does not protect them. So if you live in North Carolina or your spouse works at a private school there, this is the kind of law you need to read twice before you rely on it once. Source. Now, quick legal note. This is educational information, not legal advice. Always consult an attorney for your specific situation. Fourth change is California, and this one is all about places you cannot carry, even if you already have the license in your wallet. In 2025, the California Department of Justice issued a bulletin saying that after a Ninth Circuit Court decision, 9 more sensitive places became enforceable against CCW holders as of January 23rd of 2025. That includes places like bars and restaurants that serve alcohol, parks, playgrounds, youth centers, public libraries, zoos, museums, stadiums, arenas, amusement parks, and some state park or wildlife properties. Some of those restrictions also reach the related parking areas, streets, or sidewalks. But here's the crazy part. These 9 were added on top of 11 places that were already restricted, like school zones, childcare sites, court buildings, local government buildings, colleges, airports, police stations, and polling places. That means California says CCW holders are barred from carrying in 20 types of locations under that bulletin. Think about how easy it would be to mess this up. You go to a public library with your kid, you stop at a restaurant that serves alcohol, even though you do not drink. You walk through a park on the way to a game. Most people think, I'm licensed, so I'm good unless there's a metal detector. But the truth is, the locatio in itself can make you illegal. And if you move like the old rules still apply, you can end up defending your rights after the fact, instead of protecting them beforehand. Source. Hey, real talk. Most people watching videos like this are not subscribed, and that means they usually hear about changes after the problem starts. Don't be part of that crowd. Join the people who stay ahead of these updates instead of scrambling after the stop, the charge, or the permit issue. Click subscribe and stay in the loop. 5th change is also California, and this one could hit both future applicants and current license holders. California DOJ says AB 1078 took effect January 1st, 2026, and it changed the CCW process in several ways. First, non-California residents can now apply for a California CCW under the new rules. That sounds simple, but the requirements are not simple at all. A non-resident has to do live scan fingerprinting in California, pass the background check, be at least 21, show valid out-of-state ID, swear that the county or city where they apply is their main place for travel or time spent in California, complete the training, and complete live fire exercises for each firearm listed on the license. But here's the part that should make every current license holder pay attention. DOJ guidance says a license can be denied or revoked if the applicant or licensee knowingly gives inaccurate or incomplete information or fails to report certain required changes like restraining orders, arrests, charges, or convictions. In other words, this is not just about getting licensed. It is about staying clean, current, and accurate after you get licensed. If you ever thought, I'll update that later, California is telling you that later may be too late. Source. 6th change is Massachusetts, and if you are anywhere near a renewal there, you need to hear this carefully. Massachusetts says April 2nd, 2026 was the key date when the newer firearms safety course rules kicked in for licensing. The state's guidance says licensing authorities could keep accepting the old basic firearms safety certificates only until that April 2nd, 2026 date. The updated system includes a live fire component in the basic firearms safety course. The state's report says, starting April 2026, new and renewing applicants must complete a course that includes live firearm training, but there is an important exception. If you were issued a firearms ID card or license to carry on, or before August 1st, 2024, the report says you are not required to complete the live fire piece, including when you renew. But if you applied after August 1st, 2024, the newer rules can come back and hit you at renewal. That is where people get confused. They assume the date they got their plastic card is the only thing that matters. Massachusetts guidance shows the timing around application date and prior issuance matters a lot. And there is one more detail many people miss. Applicants generally must apply or renew in the city or town where they live, while non-residents go through the Firearms Records Bureau. So if your renewal strategy is, I'll just figure it out when the notice comes, that is not a strategy anymore. In Massachusetts, your training history now matters almost as much as your clean record. Source laws like these do not wait for you to catch up. Some of these deadlines are already live, and some of these rule changes can turn a normal carry day into a legal nightmare if you rely on old advice. Subscribe right now because the next video is going to break down what you should check on your permit, your training record, and your travel plans before your next renewal sneaks up on you. So here's the big takeaway. Your concealed carry license is not just about whether you passed a background check years ago. It is about whether you understand today's rules on training, renewal, reporting, and where you can legally carry. One bad assumption can cost you your permit, your money, or a whole lot worse. Pause. If you want more straight talk on gun laws without the fluff, subscribe and stay with me because I spend the time digging through this stuff so you do not get blindsided by it. And one final reminder in simple terms. This video is for education only. Laws change fast, facts can depend on your state and your exact situation, and if you're making a real carry decision, talk to a qualified attorney in your area before you act.